Hi everyone, Bill here from the Super Review Show. Wow, two religious themed musicals in a row. Well, that's what happens when Passover and Easter are so close together. Well, since tomorrow's Easter, I think it's only fair that we be talking about Jesus Christ Superstar. Made in 1973, based off of the rock opera of the same name by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice, Jesus Christ Superstar tells the story of the last days of Jesus Christ, such as when he arrived in Jerusalem up to his crucifixion. And you see all the events that happened, such as Caiaphas not happy that Jesus is spreading his message, to Judas selling him out, to, of course, again, the crucifixion. So, let's talk about the cast. Jesus is played by Ted Neely, in which I think he does a really good job. I think his performance is a little muffled, but just voice-wise, because this is actually all singing. There's no dialogue. I think he has a good voice, could be muffled at times, but I think it was also the times too, but Jesus as a character, they portray him as more human than divine. Because it's actually told through the perspective of Judas, who we'll get to in a second, but they portray him more as a man, and him talking about that he is possibly the Son of God. And they portray him as very angsty, too. Like, they show, like, the part in the Bible when he's in the temple and angry at the money chasers and throws them out. And he's destroying things. I kind of like how they show that. Because, you know, how I talked about last week with Prince of Egypt, how they didn't romanticize Moses, they didn't romanticize Jesus. And I really appreciate that they did that. And I gotta say again about Ted Neely singing, boy, he can really hit those high notes. The next one is Judas, who's played by Carl Anderson. This is mainly told through Judas's perspective. You know, Judas who eventually sells out Jesus for the 30 pieces of silver to Caiaphas, the high priest. But how they portray Jesus as very angsty, they portray Judas as very sympathetic. Like, I wouldn't really consider him even a villain. Like, yeah, he does some messed up things, but they portray him more as sympathetic. Like in the opening song, Heaven on Their Minds, Judas admits that he doesn't hate Jesus. He says, "My admiration for you hasn't died." And he says, and then he says, you know, he gets concerned about this whole thing, Jesus being the son, calling himself the Son of God. Like, one of the lines is, "I remember when this whole thing began. No talk of God, you were only a man." And he says, "Listen, Jesus, to the warning I give. Please remember that I just want us to live." And again, you can see Judas is not a bad guy. He just is concerned, and he feels desperate when he starts working with Caiaphas. But at the end of the film, like after everything is done, you can see how much guilt he has. How he does feel guilty for doing what he does and eventually hangs himself. The next one is Yvonne Elliott as Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene is Jesus's friend and rumored lover. Throughout the movie, it shows that she does have feelings for Jesus, such as through the song I Don't Know How to Love Him. And I think it's fine, like, her secret romance of Jesus, but I really kind of feel like it was unneeded. I kind of feel like it kind of, because we're going through this one story, and then, like, I think maybe the love story between of Mary's Magdalene's feelings for Jesus was really kind of unneeded. But I don't think it was horrible. I think Yvonne Elliott has a really good voice. And the rest of the cast, I think, is just... such as the rest of the cast being, hold on one second, folks. The rest of the cast being Barry Dennen as Pontius Pilate. I think, like, I always thought Pilate was the villain, but he kind of does seem more sympathetic to Jesus, and he's not really in it much. He only has, like, 3 songs. And then you have Bo Bingham, who plays Caiaphas, the high priest, and his voice is so deep and intimidating, it's awesome. And, the rest of... okay, these are folks you've never heard of, in all honesty. Larry Marshall, Josh Mostel, Kurt I can't pronounce his name, and Philip Tobis. Okay, so... and, of course, we gotta talk about the music. The music was written by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice. Andrew Lloyd Webber, who gave us many great musicals, such as this, Cats, and what's that show called? Oh, yeah, Phantom of the Opera. And lyrics by Tim Rice. This is actually his second of 3 big collaborations with Lloyd Webber, such as the other 2 being Joseph and the Amazing Color Dreamcoat and Evita. And Tim Rice also has his own good work by a lot of other stuff, such as 2 Oscar-winning performances from Disney movies, such as Aladdin and The Lion King. The songs here are great. I love the songs. The overture is really haunting and just really picks up. It's really cool. Heaven on Their Minds, I think, is a great opening song. It really just tells the motivations of well, not really the motivations, but just Judas's concerns about what Jesus has been doing. My personal favorite song in all this is the song Gethsemane, which Jesus sings when he's about to accept his fate that he's gonna die. And I think what the movie does so good is they interrupt the song after Ted Neely hits the high notes, and they show, different images of the crucifixion, which I think was creepy, but so cool. They also, I really love the trial by Pilate. When Jesus is on trial by Pilate, I love that's probably my favorite song in the show. There's so many songs. We're not going to go through every single one of them. We'll be here all day. But yeah, I think the songs are absolutely amazing. Okay, I talked about the stuff I like. Now, some of the stuff that I think didn't work. I think this movie is a little clunky. It's just that you feel like you cut from one song to the next, because, again, there's no dialogue, but, that's the way it was written. But I feel like it's trying to function more as a stage show than it is a actual film. And trust me, I get it. Transferring a stage show to a film is really not the easiest thing to do. I get it, but it just is kind of clunky. And that kind of does, like, the transitions are a little weird. And another thing that I really didn't really appreciate was, in the beginning, they showed this as it being a play. They show all the actors, like, coming together, getting their costumes, getting their makeups, getting their makeup, getting the props ready. It kind of takes you out a little bit, because it feels like more that you're watching people put on a stage show than a film. And you're thinking, okay, is this like am I actually into the story, or am I just actually watching the actors? Because again, they play it more because they set it up as a stage show. And then at the end, they show them all, like, getting ready to leave. And they show that the guy who played Jesus is not on the bus, nor is he on the cross. I think if they left him on the cross, be like, that's for stealing all the cookies at the cast party, asshole. Yeah, but they actually didn't originally shoot it that way, with the cross being empty, but the director, I guess, just rolled with it and symbolized, he resurrected. And the bus drives away. And there are scenes where there's, like, planes and, like, cars. And I'm like, okay, this is getting a little weird. Okay. This is actually it is a bit of a product of its time. I'm going to admit, it's a little bit of a product of its time. You could tell this movie was made in the 70s, and it is a little cheesy. This was actually my first time watching this today. I've actually been introduced to this show. My first experience with Jesus Christ Superstar was actually a few years ago. They did a production on NBC Live for Easter Sunday. And I was starring John Legend and Sarah Bareilles and Brandon Victor Dixon and Alice Cooper. I actually did a review of that on my other channel. I could put that link in the description below. But this one, I think, is a good way to start the production of this, but I have just heard better versions. Like, again, I don't even think this is bad. I think the performances are good, but I just think there's better versions. As much as I like Ted Neely, I think my favorite version of Jesus is Steve Balsamo from the 1996 London cast recording. I think that's probably more my favorite Jesus. But overall, it's good, but it can be a little corny at times. It's a product of its time. So I'm giving Jesus Christ Superstar a solid 7 out of 10. Alright, guys, from all of us here, we wish you a very happy Easter, and stay tuned for Mixed Bag and Rock Talk here on the Super Review Show. Thank you very much, stay safe, and take care.